Okay, in this presentation, I am presenting on the topic definitions of lease and its essential elements and the rights and liabilities of the lessor and lessee. Hmm. Here we have to see section 105 and 108 of the Transfer of Property Act 1882. Hmm. Here, now at first the definitions of the lease. Here, lease is the transfer of right of enjoyments in an immovable property. Hmm. Here, uh, made for a certain period in a considerations of a price, fed or promised to be fed, or money, share of crops, service, or any other thing of value to be given periodically or on specified occasions to the transferred by the transferee. Hmm. Here, from definitions of section 105, we got that the lease is a transfer of right of enjoyments in an immovable property to the lessee. Hmm. It is not the transfer of ownership. It is not the transfer of absolute interest in an immovable property. Hmm. It is just a transfer. It is just a partial transfer of right of enjoyments and the leasehold property to the lessee. Hmm. Here, here the transferor is called the lessor and the transferee is called the lessee. Hmm. And in common language, hmm, the transferor is called the landlord and the transferee is called the tenant. Hmm. Here, the price is called the premium. Hmm. And the money uh, or share, service, or other thing to be given by the lessee to the lessor is called the rent. Hmm. That is the definition included in the section 105. Hmm. Now the essential elements of a lease. Here, number one essential elements, that is the parties. There must be lessor and the lessee. Hmm. Here, this lessor and lessee must be competent to contract this, and they must be mentally sound. Hmm. Then the lessor, he must have authority to give the lease, hmm, to create the property under the lease to the lessee. Hmm. And the lessee also must be competent. That is, he must have the competence to take some burden and liabilities, hmm, whichever is created under the leasehold property. That's why the minor cannot become the lessee because minor cannot be held liable, hmm, whatever the rights and liabilities created under the lease. Hmm. Now the second essential elements, that is the demise, that is the right to enjoy the immovable property. Here, the right to enjoy it must be ensured by the lessor to the lessee under the leasehold property. Hmm. This demise, it means death, hmm, so that nobody cannot interfere in the peaceful enjoyments by the lessee in the leasehold property. That is, and number third, that is the term and durations. Hmm. Here, the term and durations for the creations of the trust, from which it will start it, and the determinations of the lease in which date it must be ascertained under the lease deed, and the number for the considerations, that is the premium or rent. Here, premium, that is the price, that is the lump sum amount taken before the creation of the uh, landlord, that is the transferor, lessor. Uh, and there must be rent, whatever given periodically, or annually or monthly, it must be ascertained in the creation of the lease, that is premium and the rent, it must be ascertainable under the creation of the lease, by the lessor and by the lessee. These are the general concept of definitions and essential elements, for the creations of the lease. That is. Now, you see the rights and liabilities of the lessor and lessee. Here, rights and liabilities of the lessor at first. Rights of lessor, section 108. Under section 108, it provides about the rights and liabilities of the lessor. Yeah, section 108 doesn't provide for any specific right of the lessor. But since rights and duties are correlative, the liabilities of lessee as given in these sections would mean the identical rights of the lessor. Yeah, the rights and liabilities, rights and duties are correlatives. Yeah, in this section 108, the rights of the lessor is not given expressly, but here the liabilities of the lessee, it is the identical rights of the lessor. Here, now the liabilities of the lessor. Yeah, number one, liabilities, that is the duties of the lessor. Yeah, duty to disclose any latent material defect in the property. Number one, duty to disclose latent material defect. Here, lessor must disclose latent material defect in the property to the lessee. Defect in the property is latent if it is not apparently visible, but the lessor has knowledge of it. Whatever the defect, if it is not clearly visible, but it is under the knowledge of the lessee, it comes under the concept of the latent defect. Here, such defect is material if it is of substantial nature, and such latent material if it affects the enjoyment of property of the lessee, then it is the material defect, and it must be disclosed by the lessor to the lessee before the creation of the lease between the two parties. Yeah. Now the duty to give possessions. Yeah. After the creation of the lease, lessor, he must have to give possession to the lessee, whatever the property they have been created under the lease. Hmm. And thirdly, a covenant for quiet enjoyments. That is, yeah, uh, quiet enjoyment means no interference or objections in the lessee's possessions of immovable property during the period of lease. Yeah, a quiet enjoyment of property. It means at the moment of the possession of the property by the lessee, at the moment of enjoyment of this leasehold property by the lessee, so that nobody can interfere, and so that nobody cannot make objections regarding this leasehold property. This must be ensured by the lessor. Now the rights and liabilities of the lessee. Rights of lessee. Yeah, the rights of a lessee is given under section 108 from clauses D to C. From clauses D to C. Here, number one, right to enjoy accessions to the leased property. Right to enjoy the accessions to the property, leased property. Yeah, accretions means additions made to the property either by human being or by operations of natural forces. Yeah. If during continuance of lease of some accretion is made to the property, it is presumed to be part of the property. Where the accretions are made by operations of natural forces, for example, accretions by alluvion, the lessee can enjoy it during the subsistence of the lease. Yeah. Regarding the accretions, that is the additions of the lease property. Whatever it may be by the creations of the natural forces or by human being. Yeah. Regard this additions entries of this lease property. Yeah. The lessee has entitled to enjoy this property. That is. And secondly, right to avoid lesion destruction of property. Yeah. Where the property is rendered substantially and permanently unfit for use due to fire, flood, violence, mob, or other uncontrollable reasons. The lessee has a right to get the lease terminated before expiry of the term. The very object of lease is to confer the right of use and enjoyments of an immovable property of the lessee. That is, yeah. Therefore, if it becomes impossible due to injury caused to the property, which makes it unfit for its use, the lessee must be given the right to avoid the lease. Yeah. Now, if the leased property it becomes the unfit for the possessions by the less due to some reasons, that is it may be by the flood or it may be by violence or it may be by move or other uncontrollable reasons. If the leasehold property becomes unfit for the leasehold property, then The lessee has right to avoid these lease agreements. That is. Here, now the number three, right to deduct cost of repairs. Here, if under the conditions of the lease, if the lessor he has to repair about the leased property if some damages occur. But if the lessor is not repair this, and if the lessee repair this property with his own cost during the continuance of the lease, during the subsistence of the lease, yeah, the lessee has a right to deduct this amount from the rent, and right to deduct the outgoings. Here, it is the duty of the lessor to pay the outgoings. It means the municipal taxes, revenue, and other public charges. But since the lessee is interested in holding the possession of property, he is entitled to pay such public charges to avoid itself in default of the payment of these public charges. When a lessee makes payment of the public charges in respect of the tenanted property, he has the right to deduct the amount from the rents. Whatever the outgoings, that is, if it is bound to pay by the lessor. Now, if it is paid by the lessee to protect his right of enjoyment of this leasehold property, the lessee has right to deduct this amount from the rent. That is, whichever the lessee has to give the rent to the lessor. Yeah, he has right to deduct these amounts, whatever fed, that is, the public charges. Yeah, right to remove the fixtures. Yeah, after termination of lease, the lessee has right to remove the fixtures made by him during continuance of the lease. A fixture means all the things fixture attached to are by him in the tenanted premises and includes trees, buildings, and machinery. The lessee can remove and take out these fixtures even after the determination of the lease. Yeah, he cannot be prevented to enter into the premises and remove them on the ground that now he has no right to enter into the land. However, he must remove the things uh, without disturbing the state of lands or the premises. Now, after the determination of the lease, here the lessee has a right to enter this leasehold property premises without disturbing the uh, state of lands or premises. Yeah, the lessee has right to remove these fixtures and right to remove the crops here. The lessee has right to remove the crops, whatever he uh, the lessee is entitled to remove the crops shown by him during the subsistence of the lease for removing and collecting all the crops growing on the lands. The lessee or his representatives are entitled to enter into the property after determination of the lease. Yeah, after determination of the lease also, the lessee they have right to collect it, these crops, whatever they have shown hmm, in this leasehold property, and right to assign his interest. Yeah, the lessee he can transfer this lease property to the another person to another persons during the continuance of the lease. But it doesn't extend beyond the period whatever originally created between the lessor and the lessee. Hmm. It is this period only. Hmm. The lessee can create this lease to the sub lessee. Hmm. Now the liabilities of the lessee. Here, number one, duty to disclose facts. Hmm. Uh, just as lessor has the duty to disclose a latent metal defect of lease of defect to lessee. Yeah, the lessee too bound to disclose to the lessor any effect known to him which increases the value of the property. Hmm. Thus, in the tenanted lands, hmm, if lessee finds that there is a gold mine, hmm, the lessee must inform this fact to lessor because it materially increases the value of the property. Yeah, but a breach of this duty by the lessee doesn't amount to fraud, and lessor cannot terminate the lease upon the such failure. However, the lessor may sue the lessee for damages. Yeah, whatever the facts during the continuance of the lease, if some conditions, hmm, yeah, if the value of the if the value of the properties increases, it must be disclosed to the lessor by the lessee. Suppose if there is discovered the gold mines in this leasehold property, which materially increases the value of the property of this leasehold property, this must be informed by the lessee to the lessor. That is now duty to pay rent. Yeah, rent must be paid by the lessee to the lessor. That is, and the duty to maintain property. Yeah, the lessee he must have to maintain as a ordinary bench or as a ordinary prudence of this leasehold property as like his own property. That is, he cannot materially impair. He cannot materially impair this leasehold property. That is, yeah, he must have to maintain this property, and he can use this leasehold property. Whatever they have been agreed on the lease agreements. That is, for the enjoyment and use of these rights. And duty to give notice of encroachments. Yeah, if the lessee comes to know that an encroachment has been made on the property in his possessions, it is his duty to inform the lessor so that he may take proper actions. Where a lessee becomes aware of any encroachments or interference or of any sort of proceeding in respect of the leased property, The lessee is bound to give notice of this fact to the lessor so that lessor may protect his interest. Hmm. Yeah. What about the encroachments or the interference at the moment of the enjoyment of this property by the lessee by the some other persons? It must be given information to the it must be given notice to the lessor by the lessee. That is, and duty to use property reasonably. Here, lessee, that is the tenant, must have to use the leasehold property with a reasonable care, so that the leasehold property may not be damaged. That is, here. Next is the duty not to erect permanent structure. Here, the lessee, that is the tenant, cannot erect a permanent structure in the leasehold property. Here, the lessee cannot erect any permanent structure on the leased property without the consent of the lessor. Whether the constructions made by lessee is permanent or not depends on the nature of constructions and intention of the lessee. Yeah. This is a question of fact. If a lessee makes permanent constructions without lessor's consent, he is entitled to remove them without causing damage to the tenanted property. Yeah, if the permanent structures on the leased property are not removed by lessee, then on the expiry of the lease they belong to the landlord. And if the lessee he has constructed the permanent structure on this leasehold property, yeah, by the order of the lessor, he has to remove this permanent structure. And if the lessee, if he doesn't remove this permanent structure, now after the expiry of the lease, after the determination of the lease, it belongs to the lessor. It belongs to the landlord. And last one, duty to restore the possessions. Here, lease is a transfer of right of enjoyment, possessions in immovable property to lessee for a specified period and during the subsistence of the lease. Accordingly, upon the expiry of the term or determination of lease, before its expiry, the lessee must retransfer and restore it to the lessor after the expiry of the term. Yeah, decreations of the lease is for a certain period. Right of enjoyment by the lessee for certain period or only under the lease agreement. Now, after the expiry of this term, after the expiry of this period, here lessee must have to restore his possessions to the lessor, that is to the landlord, because the lease is a transfer of enjoyment of right only. It is a partial transfer of right of enjoyment in an immovable property. It is not the absolute transfer of the property. It is not the transfer of the ownership of the property. That's why after the expiry of the period and the term of lease, lessee must have to restore the possession to the lessee, to the landlord. Okay. We have discussed clearly up to this regarding this topic. I think we have got a clear concept. Okay, that's all.